Captain's Log, Episode 69. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. On this week's Beercast, Captain Huck and the Beer Wonder welcome guest Beer Venger to be Sarah Nakost Karimi, beverage manager of the Beer and Cheese Collective. This show has 5 pours, a new and exciting origin story, and, everything else you've come to love, hate, and tolerate about us. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you'd just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 69, Sarah Will Provide.
Oh, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the Vengers, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the Beer Vengers.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from the eye of the storm in the East Bay of the San Francisco area, this is the Pale Male Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder!
And we are the Beer Oh, yeah.
I know I say this every week, but that one was actually really good, guys.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm very proud of us. I'm not going to even pretend to be humble. I'm going to actually brag. No bothering with a humble brag here. Welcome to the show, Beer Vengers out there. Because if you listen to the show, if you've been on the show, of course. But anyway, you're all Beer Vengers. Never put the word honorary in front of that. We'll get to that later. But anyway, gentlemen, good to see you. How have your holidays been so far? Now that they're over.
Happy and
How's
hoppy.
your New Year going, I should say. Yeah.
New Year's a little different, but
happy and hoppy. That seems appropriate for you, Huck.
Correct.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad to be back here for our first show, episode 69, our first episode of 2023. Looking forward to how things are. We have some wonderful pours, but most importantly, we have a new Beer Venger to be here on the Beercast from the beverage director. Did I say that right, Sarah?
Yes.
Beverage director? Yes, the beverage director,
beverage director
of the Beer and Cheese Collective at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens, Sarah Nakost Karimi. Welcome,
Hi,
Sarah.
guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of the Beer Venger crew tonight.
Well, we're happy to have you here as the Beer Venger crew, or sometimes we even call ourselves the Beer Vengerverse.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, fits with the whole.
I gotta be honest, Sarah. I know this will come out later, but I think you're very influential in the Beer Vengerverse sphere, whatever, in multiple ways that I'm sure will become apparent. But I think you may be part of the glue that keeps this whole thing together.
Oh, well, that's
even more so recently.
Okay.
Even more so recently, because you may remember back in I think it was June, because it was Pride themed. Or might have been in July, but we had Sarah's predecessor, Rig Lefevre, who became known as Professor Pilsner,
Yes.
and they were the ones who always gave us our beer. But Sarah has been doing this now, and as you're going to find out soon, she's doing a wonderful job of it. In fact, that sounds like actually that's usually we sort of lurch into it, but that's just a natural segue. I think it's time for the pours, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I'm
Obviously.
ready.
There I go.
I
All
guess
right, I'm ready to pour. I am ready, my friends. West Coast time.
You're already
Beer
3 hours
man.
earlier. I don't.
Hop
Hang on.
head.
You know
Beer
what?
Wonder,
You know
do I
what?
need to say it?
I think you do, because I've tried. I got put in my place last time,
What?
and I guess I'm going to pass the reins to you today.
Well,
Well, let me.
yeah, go ahead, Huck.
I was going to say, I thought since Sarah was, the sponsor, that she's already, benefiting from being the Beer Vengeosphere. So is she still
So-
considered a guest? I mean, I thought she's like more like already like a crew member.
You're digging yourself a big hole here, Huck. You're saying because
she's working the warehouse, bringing us the.
And so she deserves less to go first?
Well, okay, now you put it that way.
I mean, come
Boy,
on.
I feel like I feel terrible about this now.
Gentlemen, I feel like I'm so proud. I feel like that you have all learned and figured this out on your own without even my intervention. I would say my work here is done.
I told you should have gotten him an Emily. Yeah, I told you should have gotten an Emily Post book for Christmas, but now you said no. Huck's got it all together. All right, so obviously, Sarah, you will be going first. What lovely beer do you have with you today?
Okay, so excited to tell you guys. So today I got I brought one of my favorite newer breweries. This is a lovely beer from Back Home Beer, and if you guys have not heard of this fun little brewery, it is new. She just started. I would say last October was kind of her first beer release. And
by last, do you mean 2021?
2021. Yeah, so not like 3 months ago, but
right.
Yes, 2021. But yes, so this Back Home Beer is a basically started by this lovely Iranian American woman. Her name is Zahra, and she lives in Brooklyn. And she started to kind of do some home brews, and then decided to make a business of it for herself. And she's doing very well, and has been kind of nominated in a lot of the kind of beer publications of like Best New Brewer, Best New Brewery. And so it's very, very exciting. And yeah, she's local, Brooklyn. And this particular beer that I'm going to be drinking tonight is a pomegranate goza.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah, where did you get that beer from?
I got this lovely beer from the Beer and Cheese Collective in Astoria, Queens on Ditmars Boulevard, where I am.
Which, of course,
the beverage director.
That makes it a
sponsored pour.
Yes.
Right. Sponsored pour, of course.
It is.
We've got a lot of those coming tonight.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, open that up. Let's take a look at it.
Yes. So this beer, it's called the Yalda Queen. It's a kind of a one-off because in Iranian culture, the winter solstice is called Yalda, Shab Yalda, which is like the night of Yalda, and it's kind of like people get together with friends and family. They kind of stay up all night, and they have like all kinds of like snacks and drinks, and tell like stories and read poetry and stuff like that. And so so she did this for that and released it, and it's a goza that is brewed with pomegranates.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
fruit punch looking.
Yeah, beautiful color. Yes, and pomegranates is like a kind of like symbolically I guess one of the main fruits in all things like Persian culture and stuff. Not only of like just kind of like us consuming it, but then also just in a lot of kind of like imagery and story and kind of like historical, I guess, folklore and all that fun stuff. So
very good.
Yes,
that's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, the whole breach in etiquette beer wonder has thrown me off entirely. I don't know who's going to go next, so I'm gonna throw that ball back to you.
Well, here's the thing. Huck was so eager, and I was so mean to him last time. I do feel like it would only be polite to let him pick up the reins here.
Oh, sure. I'm feeling forgiving as well. So yeah.
That's nice. I assumed I was going to go last after my breach of etiquette. Well, speaking of breaches of etiquette, last episode, I kind of gave Bottle Logic Brewing a hard time about not dating
I
their
remember that.
cans and not being as great as they are. But we're gonna test that. We're gonna test that out tonight. We're gonna try a couple of Bottle
Okay.
Logic beers. I have this is called the Siempre. Oh man, I should have learned the name. Siempre Exploranado. I mean, I always exploring, right? So this is
Cool.
a Mexican style lager.
Mm.
So if
Oh,
you
cool.
can't, this is probably their low end of their high ingredient beers that they make.
Mhm.
So we're gonna give it a shot. Let's see what we got here.
Right. See if they can redeem themselves.
Now, Mexican lager is not my favorite style, but it should have some nice corn flavors.
Oh, very
And it
nice.
should be nice and crispy, easy
Yeah,
to
it's
drink.
really
Looks
good,
like
yeah.
like a Corona or a. There we go.
Yeah. Nice
My
low
beer
number on
club
that
glass.
SRM chart.
Mhm.
Low number on SRM, yeah, for sure, and low ABV as well, but not too low. It's 4.9. No, 4.5.
right.
That is pretty low.
Oh, okay.
All right, cheers. There you go.
Cheers.
Yeah,
All right.
cheers.
Cheers.
Um,
Captain,
I'm already liking the head retention on there for Mexican lager. So 1
it is
point.
beautiful. All right. See if we can get some redemption tonight. Captain, given that you are closest in
Okay.
geography to our delightful sponsor, it does feel right that you'd go next.
I will. Well, thank you. I graciously accept that responsibility. So interesting. When I went to get these beers from Sarah the other day, she remembered exactly what kind of beers we like. She
Mhm.
she knows that I like the dark stuff and knows that the Beer Wonder is into the IPAs. So she gave me a couple of really great ones. One of them was this Evil Twin 12% Imperial Stout. But we're doing two shows tonight, so I'm going to go with the other one, which is the exact opposite end of the spectrum, which is this lovely traditional English porter from Duchess Ales. It's called Augur Porter,
Sponsored Core.
and it is a 4.6% ABV.
What?
Sorry to disappoint you there,
Captain.
Beer Wonder.
Captain, what are you
Mine
doing?
was 4.9, actually, not 4.5. So I'm still.
All right, so yes, I am the
you're-
lowest.
You're lowest.
Although
we didn't check the
probably
Goza.
so far. We didn't.
Oh, the
Sarah, what is the
Goza,
ABV on that one? Do you know?
ABV, I'm going to tell you in 1 second. This one is 4 point. Sorry, even with glasses, it's like hard for me to see. I think it's 4.8.
All right,
Oh,
all right.
goodness.
So far.
Okay.
So here we go.
Yes,
Cracking
we're
this
having
open.
it is a school night, so.
That's true.
Well, for us, it's a two-show night. You
Yeah.
don't know what's coming later for
Oh,
us.
yeah.
We
But,
do rely
there
on the
we
captain
are.
to bring the ABV averages up.
There we
so,
go.
you
We're
know.
liking the color a lot, especially.
It
for
is.
nice-
It is. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
I said, this is a traditional English porter. That's part of why the ABV is so low.
Yes.
Yeah,
When
a
stouts
nice
came
fluffy
out, they
head
were
on
called
there.
stout porters. But there we are. There's
Nice.
my Augur Porter from Duchess Ales, and I'll look
I
forward
think
to
that's
telling
a
you more about
premiere
that.
for Duchess too.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
could
It is.
be,
All right.
yeah.
So all right, Beer Wonder. Thank you for your patience. Obviously,
Yeah.
it is now your time.
Why,
See
thank
what you got.
And in the same way that you have won this evening and Sarah has won this evening, I also have a
Sponsored Core.
Or
okay. Yes, a sponsored pour from our friends at the Beer and Cheese Collective, selected by the one and only Sarah. Sarah, you know me so well. You know I love a hoppy beer. You know I love a New York beer, and you know I don't get up to the Bronx breweries as much as I should. So tonight, at Sarah's suggestion, I will be drinking a beautiful Gun Hill IPA.
Oh, yes.
From our friends at Gun Hill Brewing. And I do want to say that tonight I'm the one bringing the averages up because my beer comes in at 6.6%,
Nice.
Very good.
Yes.
which is
That is
low
good.
for averages on this crew, but we're going to make it work.
It's also
Yeah.
pretty modest for an IPA.
Yeah,
It's
I
true,
mean,
yeah.
it's just a regular, it's not a double or
Yeah.
anything. So I feel like
True.
it's a good, I feel like they
Yep.
can range
All
anywhere
right.
between like 6 and 7,
Yep.
There we
Well,
go.
it's definitely
Oh, very
already
nice.
getting a little bit of that pine off the top, which is nice.
Oh, yeah.
so this is just the straight Gun Hill IPA. Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this must have been one they've been brewing for a while.
Yeah, this is their one
Mhm.
their one of their flagship beers.
Very
And it looks
nice.
like it's got that nice dark amber almost IPA color. Nice big fluffy
Mhm.
head on there.
Hmm.
It's a good looking and
All
good
right.
smelling beer, and I can't wait to dig in.
Yeah.
Well, then let's all dig in. Cheers,
Yes,
everyone.
Cheers.
indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's very nice.
Oh, yeah.
We had a bit of a mustache issue because the head is hanging on very intensely.
Oh yeah.
And it just allowed it to linger a little bit. Super. It's I believe it says it's mosaic and crystal hops, and I'm getting a lot of that. It's got that like kind of American standard typical American nice bitterness, a little bit of sweetness at the front. It definitely sticks around in the back. I love this beer. It's such a good. It's Sarah. You know me so well. It's such a good beer.
I'm glad
I'm
you're
curious
enjoying
why
it.
you chose this one.
We had just gotten a fresh batch of Gun Hill Brewery in, and
Freshness.
we hadn't had them in a really long time. So I was like very excited that we had Gun Hill back in the shop because I feel like they make such amazing beers. And don't worry, Glenn, because we are I'm getting some Void of Light from them as well.
Oh, hooray! Is their
Yes.
standard one, or is it one of the variants?
I think it's just the standard,
Which
I
is which is still the best one.
Yeah.
I always enjoy trying the variants, but the original Void of Light is probably my favorite.
Yes. So we
like
got,
the peanut
we
butter.
had that in, and then, Glenn just kind of came at the right time to collect some beers. And I was like, oh, we just got Gun Hill in. I'm going to give you one of these because I was very excited about it. So I had missed them. So.
Now, I don't know if we'll be having the other one while you're here. So why don't you give us the other information? Because you said the other one you gave me also brews at Gun Hill, right?
Well, Gun Hill is selling. So I think it's one of the owners of Gun Hill got a space upstate New York and started like a side project called Vosburg. And it's like,
Okay.
and then so they are doing, and so that's somewhere upstate New York. I can't remember exactly where. So he's doing like a little side project um of like doing a smaller brewery up there called Vosburg. And then so whenever you want to order from Gun Hill, they usually always have a couple of those beers, which I had never had before. So I was very excited to get them in. I mean, on paper it sounds really awesome, and I like the can design. It was like very cute and simple. So
Well, cool.
hopefully, Mr. Beer Wonder, you will enjoy that one as well.
I'll be happy to quality control it on our next
Yes.
episode.
Well, I have to say I am really enjoying this porter. It's nice because it's even though it's got a really rich flavor especially for a 4.6. I mean it's not quite as like sometimes I associate this like the dark mild. It has there's some kinship there between them, but this is a little more full bodied than
Yeah.
that. What I was reading on their website about now this particular brewery, Duchess, I believe it's named for the county in Long Island where they brew it. Although it is brewed in it looks like in a number of different states, so they might have some itinerant situations in the other places. According to the can, this one is brewed at Great South Bay.
Okay, yeah.
That's what.
Oh, cool.
I feel
Ah.
like some of their stuff is also brewed somewhere either upstate or in Westchester.
Yeah, Dutchess County's upstate.
Yeah. So somewhere.
I thought Dutchess County was still considered to be Long Island.
I believe there's only 2 counties on Long Island.
No, Dutchess is.
So Nassau,
Nassau
and
yeah.
Suffolk.
Suffolk. Yeah, no, Dutchess is upstate.
oh, okay.
But yeah, I met the brewers like years ago when they first started out, because they used to always come to hang out at the Diamond Bar when I worked there. And it was one British guy and one American guy, and they kind of did some experimental brews. And then we had a cask line, and then they made some cask ales for us that we would serve. And they kept on saying like, we're getting a space, we're gonna do it somewhere upstate. And I'm very excited to see that they actually finally did, and they make really really great beers. But it's very much, the style is very influenced from like old school British beers for sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and that's why they had that low ABV, but it really does have that nice portery that chocolatey taste to it, and it doesn't taste thin. I was curious when I was looking. I don't always do research before I have a beer. Sometimes I like to go in cold, no pun intended. But I wanted to see what was out there, because I looked at some of the stuff on the website, and I found some stuff on Beer Advocate. And I came across one review I just had to read as part of the thing, because it's from someone who calls themselves Raul Mondizzi from California.
Okay.
Oh gosh,
Here is
I love
Raoul's review. My God, this one speaks to me like a lady in the night when I am down and out. I
Oh
mean,
my.
imagine being on your last leg, then Susie Two Twirls give you one more. Yeah, I'm into that, like licking some cotton candy at midnight. Yep.
Wow.
So, another
Okay.
perspective on the Augur Porter.
Huck, is that you? Is that you? Is that your other alter ego? Is that another of the names that we have on there? You're writing beautiful poetry about beers.
Oh, my poetry's not that good. That was gorgeous.
Yeah.
So Huck, is Botologic redeeming themselves at all with this?
Well,
boy.
I gave him a hard time, and now I'm
You
giving
did.
him a harder time by starting with a style that I don't really like very much.
Oh boy. This is
It
how we
does-
get canceled.
It does hit the points of the style. I'm getting nice head retention, also nice lacing. So in appearance, it's got the right color. So if I was a beer judge, I would be like, okay, it's hitting all the points. It's not wowing me though.
Mm.
But it is a Mexican style lager, so it's meant to be quaffed and on a hot day, and
Mhm.
it's just not super flavorful. It's not crappy. It's not like a Corona. There we go. That's my review. It's not crappy.
Yeah, but
Cool.
that sounds like it could be an episode title that I think we can do better.
Crispy
but,
Chips
yeah.
says it's not crappy. Let me try another
Oh,
sip.
brother.
All right. Well,
Wow.
for better
just wanna
tasting
say-
notes. Oh, go ahead.
The opinions expressed here are not necessarily the opinions of our illustrious sponsor, the Beer and Cheese Collective. Let's be very clear on that.
No, but we're not going to sugarcoat things. I mean, we might tone
That's
them down
right.
a little
Look.
bit, but we have integrity.
Yeah.
Bottle Logic has a lot of cred in the industry
They do.
as being one of the top brewers, and besides their stouts, I haven't really hit on a beer that I think was really that great.
Oh. Okay.
Noted.
All right. Well, to
We
some other
continue.
tasting yeah,
It could be like this great feud, a one-way feud, because they have no idea who I am.
that's true.
It's the
My
new
feud with Bottle Logic continues.
You can start leaving unsavory messages.
But I have a second one, so we will continue in this episode to test the logic of the Bottle Logic. This one's almost gone, so
Well, from one extreme to another, Sarah, I know you're a big fan of Back Home.
Yes.
In fact, when you sponsored the first, when you put together that first Boss Lady Brews, I remember meeting her,
Yes.
and she's very nice. I haven't had this. I've had a couple of her beers and enjoyed all of them, but I haven't tried this one yet. How is it?
It's very, very good. It's I'm sure, have you had her original goza that she brewed, which was the sour cherry sumac?
Ooh. I think I did.
Okay.
I've had a couple of different ones from her.
Yeah. So that's like that's her one of her first brews. It was basically that one she made, and then she made the her blue salt, the Persian blue salt lager.
I remember that one better.
Yes.
that sounds
Yeah,
good.
that one is really nice too. And so this one she just released right like kind of the beginning of December for the winter solstice, and then she also released a orange blossom IPA as well, which is also really, really nice. But yeah, no, I mean, she makes gozas. I think they're great. There's just like a beautiful tartness to it from the pomegranate, subtly fruity. You can definitely taste a little bit of that salt that's supposed to be there from being a goza. And it's just, yeah, just all around like very pleasant, and yeah, it just has a lot of flavor, and the color is beautiful, and yes, I'm enjoying it.
I think aside from my my usual wheelhouse of beers, I think Goza is one of my favorite other flavors of beer.
Yes.
Other styles.
Yes. That's definitely like one of my favorite, like in the category of like sour styles. Just because
Yeah.
I love that saltiness. And I feel like sometimes people don't put enough salt. For me, I'm like, oh, the saltier the better. But that's kind of like what draws me into the gozas is that salt.
Well,
But-
didn't I hear that part of the reason she was drawn to Gozas was because that's in Iran that men salt their beer? I thought I read her saying something like that.
Yeah, they do that a lot. Like they'll put a little salt on the rim and stuff, which I feel like is very
Yeah.
common in a lot of cultures that they do that and
Yeah.
stuff. And her grandfather would is also a brewer, and that's kind of where she got the love of brewing beers because her grandfather in Iran used to brew beer. And this was like before the, when they actually had alcohol and before the revolution and before the Islamic Republic had taken over. So she comes from, a line of beer brewers, and that was kind of her inspiration, was her grandfather, to kind of start doing like home brews, and then she got into it and wanted to do it full time. So yeah, it's a very cool origin story for sure.
Yeah.
But
Now, I want to revise this a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
As I'm drinking, it's got a nice sweet aroma, a sweet like that sweet corn aroma, and it does have a sweetness to it that I think could be very enjoyable.
Okay. Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Sometimes, usually this
Finishes
is on a bit
smoothly.
of a. Oh, I was waiting for it finishes smoothly, and that's.
Is it finished? Are you finished with it?
I think so.
Yeah. You ready for my next one?
Oh my! No, well,
we did. There was something that Sarah said a moment ago. I'm surprised it didn't trigger the usual sound effect it does, but it reminded me that we've had our beers. Some of us are still having our beers because we weren't drinking a brew we were excited to get rid of. But Sarah did use a couple of words there that we kind of need to. We want to hear more about her, what her story is, where she came from. In other words, I think it's time for her origin story.
Origin story.
That's right. Oh, that's always gives me chills. That's right. It's Sarah. This is Sarah's first time on the show, and I've known her for the last I think we figured 8 years or so, but I don't really know how she got started either personally or professionally in beer. So Sarah, start wherever in that journey where you want to, and what got you interested in beer?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a very long journey. Yeah, I know I've always liked beer. Just kind of how any young person starts off with their, journey into underage drinking. It was always at first, crappy bad beer.
What were some of the first crappy bad beers you had, if you remember?
Budweiser.
Oh yeah.
Budweiser, I think, was my first Budweiser, or the first beer I got intoxicated. It was Budweiser via a straw.
Oh my gosh!
And
that's a level right there.
Yeah, that was definitely not my idea. It was just handed to me with a straw already in it, and I was a little confused. And my friend was like, "Oh yeah, no, this is better to drink it out of a straw."
Where were you being handed a Budweiser with a straw in it? Like, where in the world was this?
This was in Northern Virginia, a suburb of Washington, D.C. is where I grew up. And at that time, oh man, I think I was like 13 or 14. I was quite young.
Honestly, Sarah, this happens all the time. I think you're totally good with the statute of limitations at this point. No one's going to come knocking on your door and,
About my, yes, yeah, hopefully.
Well, she used a straw, so.
No, so yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very safe.
Very safe. So yeah, you kind of go through that. In college, I spent a few years going to school in Maryland and in Baltimore. And again, it's kind of like a journey through, more crappy beer. But I remember there, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with Baltimore, but there is a little area called Fells Point. It's a really cutesy little area. It's kind of close to the water. It's just kind of filled with shops and bars and restaurants and stuff. And then there used to be this little bar called Friends, and it was like a cool little dive bar. And on Sunday nights, they had a deal where you get like 3 beers for like, it was like three for $3. But they were like little skinny beers. I think they were just like little kind of like 8-ounce pours. But you had, and they had just like I don't know, 10 to like 12, I think, line tap list. And you had to get 3 different ones, but it was only for $3. And it just was kind of like a big hit for the college students. When I first started going there, I was underage, but because it was a Sunday night, they didn't have anybody at the door, so nobody carded us.
That's a
And I
loophole.
and I yes, well, and I went with some college friends that had just kind of either recently had turned 21 and who had been there before, so they kind of knew some of the bartenders and or had like fake IDs. And so I kind of like slipped through the cracks with them. And then so, not that they had like the best, kind of list, but I think that was kind of like the beginning of trying like things other than like crappy beers, because I think they had like Saranac on tap, and then maybe some like Belgium stuff. I think maybe, I don't know, some like Chimay stuff, but they definitely had like things that weren't like your typical like Budweiser, like Rolling Rock. And I even think this is like going to date me a little bit, but I even think like back in the day, like, if you were like drinking like Bass Ale, it like kind of seemed a little fancy.
No, that I'm with you there, Sarah. That was one of that was one of my first go-to beers. That did make me
Yeah.
feel like I start. For me, it started with Bass and then went on from there. But yeah, that was definitely, for a while I was always looking for Bass.
Yeah, so like Bass Ale, I remember like Saranac was a big one, and I'm trying to think of like other ones, but that was kind of like the first time where I kind of stepped out of just like drinking like lagers, because they would have like black and tans and like porters and like ambers and like different, and like IPAs and different kind of pale ales and styles that I kind of never really ventured into. And I think that was just kind of like the first time kind of like dipping my toe into like different styles and different types of beer, because the only way you got the deal is if you ordered like 3 different like skinny beers.
Ah,
And then from there, just kind of like grew. And I got into trying, and my palate got like used to, or not used to, but got excited about trying like different flavors and things like that. And I think that kind of like led into like going, I don't know, I feel like most people, or at least a lot of people that I've talked to, once they get into that like craft beer journey, I think there's definitely like a moment where you head down
Yes.
like the Belgian kind of like route. And I feel like, yeah, drinking stuff like Omegang and Chimay and Delirium and all that stuff. Like, I think you kind of feel like you're kind of doing something super fancy and different from the crowd and stuff. So so that definitely like turned into, yeah, trying all like the Belgian things. And then yeah, and then from there, just kind of my love for beer kind of grew. My palate kind of grew and continued to like try experiment with different styles. And then when I was kind of recently, after I moved to New York, I started working at a wine bar in Midtown in Rockefeller
Hmm.
Center.
ooh,
And we were kind of like a premier wine bar and had like over 100 like wines by the glass. But we did have some beers, but the beers that we had, they were all like craft beer. So I remember like we carried Firestone, we carried Victory, we carried like Omegang. And then so that kind of furthered my you know my repertoire into like trying kind of like more of like the American craft like scene and stuff.
oh, cool.
Yeah, so we had a lot of like, I mean, it wasn't a huge list, but we definitely had a lot of stuff, that was all just like small, or at the time was considered like smaller breweries, like Victory and Firestone. even though I mean they are still considered craft beer, but they're definitely so much bigger now than than they were. I'd say like 10 to like 15 years ago.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, with the
Yeah.
especially Victory now with their, well, I mean, Firestone, I think is obviously they're huge, but then Victory now they have that collaboration with Six Point and Southern Tier, that three pronged approach.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It was Victory, Omegang, Firestone. Yeah, I'm trying to remember like what other, because it would also like rotate. We had some like Belgian. Oh, we had the famous like Canadian one, like La Fin du Monde and stuff like that.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys ever had that, but it's like a very high ABV. It's from Canada, but it's like very high ABV, kind of like I think it's like a Belgian triple or
Like Le
Belgian
Fin de
quad.
Mont.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Findumon, yeah. So we had stuff like that. So yeah, and that, and then that kind of led me into working for my friend Dave, who opened the Diamond Bar
Mm.
in Greenpoint
Yeah,
in
I went
Brooklyn,
there.
because yeah, oh yeah, oh man, I miss that place so much.
Yeah, you
But
you
yeah,
were there
so
pretty much the whole time, right?
I was from the beginning, yeah. So he had a very much big kind of like craft beer and wine history himself, and he used to work for Be United in New York, and they're like a major distributor. Um, or actually, they're more of an importer, major importer of all the delicious fine beer from all the rest of the
Hmm.
world. And so he was going to open up his new place, and then he knew I bartended at the wine bar, and he was like, I really want you to bartend at my new place in Brooklyn, will you do it? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And so he kind of, after just kind of knowing some things, and some stuff about craft beer, he's the one I'd have to accredit like all my craft beer knowledge, and like how I really really dove deep into the beer world, because when they first opened, they just did beer, and then eventually we added wine and stuff, but it was just all craft beer at a time, in Greenpoint, where I mean there were still tons of like bars, and it was still like a trendy neighborhood, but it wasn't what it was now, and like we were kind of one of the first people to kind of be
Now, is the
there as a
Diamond still
craft
there?
beer
It's
bar for
not.
sure. It's not. No, it closed like 2 years ago.
My avatar picture on
Yes.
my Instagram, Hophead Huck, is me having a beer at Diamond Bar.
Oh, is it? Oh, that's
Oh,
wonderful.
It was a good beer too. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, Dave just.
We used to do the
That would be a so much better story
we
if you
used to
did.
do the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Beer Book, and that was one of the
Mhm.
spots. I did a
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
it
I did a
was.
Greenpoint.
I don't
I
remember.
was by myself.
Okay.
Yeah, because there weren't a lot of places that were doing craft beer at the time. There's that like old school bar in Williamsburg that had been there forever, Mugs.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Mugs. Yeah,
Yeah, we went there a few times. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's Mugs, and then Spite and Dival was there. Because that's funny, Dave actually worked at Spite and Dival while he was like trying to like broker, some sort of like deal of like finding a space, and figuring out how they're gonna like rent a space and turn it into a bar and all this stuff. But yeah, he was working at Spite and Dival. Spite and Dival was there, Mugs was there. I don't know, maybe like one other place that was like really doing craft beer besides us. And then but it's funny, yeah, like as soon as we opened, I feel like just a few years later, just so many other places just started popping up.
One of which was the formerly known beer, Astoria Beer and Cheese on Ditmars Boulevard. And so when
Oh,
when did
yes.
that when did because for a while obviously you kept at the Dineboro while you started working there, so that's all
Yes.
overlapped in there. So when how far into that reign did that happen?
Oh, yeah, oh man. So, yeah, Story Beer and Cheese opened 2014,
Mm-hmm.
and Diamond Bar had been open since, want to say like since 2012.
Okay.
No, no, 2011 maybe. I'm trying to think. Hold on, sorry.
No,
That's okay.
I'm
I
like,
have the
they
picture,
were.
and you see there's like a
Oh
rainbow
my
wall.
gosh.
Do you remember that?
Oh yes, no, I do
Oh
remember that.
wow.
There
Yeah.
you go. And
Oh,
it
very
Oh
was
cool.
my
a
goodness. Yes.
hermit thrush sour
Oh
that it was
yes.
in my sourpuss phase, and that was it. That
Oh,
was
that's
really good
awesome.
at that time.
Hermit thrush is really really good. I got to get more of them in the shop, but I don't know. We used to be able to get them often, and then for some reason I feel like after the pandemic, a lot of breweries kind of scaled
Mm,
down or changed up their distribution because some things that we used to get a
hmm,
lot, I don't. It's hard to get
interesting.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But I love Thermit. Yeah, I love hermit thrush.
I
They're
was a
so good.
thrush nut for a long time. Yeah.
Yes, no, they make delicious beer, especially if you're into sours. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
They're really good. Yeah. But no, I think sorry, the diamond I think was around because when we closed, yeah. So we're in 2023 now. So they closed in 2021,
That's too bad. It's kind of a tough
and
location, I
they had
suppose. A
been
little off the beaten path.
yeah, a little bit off the beaten path, but it was it was fine just because so many things had blown up around
Mm,
that area that we there's always a lot of foot traffic. Um, yeah, because especially along the water, like Franklin turned into
mm.
Kent, and then
Mhm.
kind of so many things were new and coming up on Kent and stuff. But yeah, so we were around for 13 years.
That's amazing.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
So yeah,
That is incredible.
so
Oh, it's too
yeah,
bad it's
so they
gone.
opened earlier. Yeah, it was tough. We the lease was up, and then the building was being sold, and the new landlords coming in, they were planning on doing a bunch of like construction, so we were going to like lose our
Oh.
backyard, and that was kind of the bread and butter of our place, especially during like warm weather. And then I think the rent was just gonna like just become like double or triple, and it just didn't make any sense to try to continue because I just feel like it just would have been too hard. Yeah, and it still was the pandemic,
Mhm.
and nothing was still, was certain quite yet, even though things were getting better, but so it was one of those things where they had to just kind of cut their losses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like a similar kind of thing, like what happened with John Brown's, because
Mhm.
that location they were at was just no good. It was always a little off the beaten path, but then the pandemic kind of made it even worse, and they got to a point where they were supposed to re-sign the lease, and they didn't see it getting any better anytime soon. So they had those
Wait,
two
did they
locations. They just
close?
well, the original one did, but remember they had a second one. I can't remember what they called it. They were trying to
Oh,
expand the empire, and the other
yeah.
one was I think John
It's
Brown's
like
is
off of like
Kansas City.
30. Oh,
Yes.
okay, maybe. There is off like the 30th 39th Avenue stop. Like the stop right
Oh,
before you get into Queensboro Plaza.
um, the original one I think was more like off
Not the
the
original one. Yeah, the
oh, the new
original one
one.
I know
Yeah,
is like, yeah, the new one. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but the new one was called Mother. I'm not sure which train is best there because I always wind up riding like a city bike there.
Okay, yeah,
But it was called Mothership Meat for a little while.
yeah.
They
Okay.
had John Brown and they had Mothership Meat, and then they closed the original John Brown and turned Mothership Meat into John Brown.
Oh, okay. All right. So it still exists, but it's just not the original location in LIC.
That's correct.
Yes. Yes, I think there was like a big I don't know, big like a lot of drama with the owner
Yeah.
when Amazon was putting a bid to open an
Ah.
LIC because he wanted
Yes.
them to be there. And then I think when after all, I guess like the protests and people not wanting Amazon to be there, I think he went on some scary rant on the interwebs
Yeah.
calling. Yeah, I don't remember exactly all the details, but I remember he was very angry and upset that that deal got messed up. I mean,
Yeah, I still like that place, but that's the reason I'm sometimes conflicted about going there because of stuff like that.
yeah, but I mean, I guess I get it as a business owner, but I think from what I remember, I think he had like a full blown like tantrum online.
Yeah.
Never a good look.
So between working at the Diamond Bar, you were there for a few years already, and then what
Yes.
led you to Story Beer and Cheese?
Oh yes, a story of beer and cheese. So what happened? Oh, so I had my first child. I had my son. So and I was no longer working at the wine bar in the city, and yeah, and so I was just working at the Diamond Bar, but I was only there, and I'd always only really had been there for only 2 days a week, and then so I just kind of wanted to like get back to work and just needed to. And then I just was, and we had just moved to the Ditmars area because my husband and I lived off of 30th Avenue on 42nd Street for, I don't know, maybe like almost 14 years. And then, since we had a baby on the way, we just wanted to move somewhere where it was a little bit bigger. And then so we moved on the Ditmar side, which was definitely like a little bit of a culture shock because back then, I mean, there were definitely still there are places on Ditmars, but it just seemed so much more like quiet and mellow in comparison to like 30th Avenue and Broadway. Um, I'm not sure where you live in Astoria, Beer Wonder. I know where the captain
Oh,
lives, but
Well, Beer Wonders
I'm
in
in the
Brooklyn.
County of Kings.
oh, you were in
Yes,
Brooklyn.
I am
Okay,
in the County of
sorry. Yeah.
Kings. So
Or have I said too much? Have I
Yes.
said too much to reveal a secret location of Beer Wonder?
they know what Kings is, or they should if they know Gotham. But
Okay,
yes,
yes.
no, but I do enjoy.
Yes.
I was with the captain last night actually, and I really do enjoy sort of the different vibes that you get as you move through Astoria for sure.
Yeah. Well, and Ditmars has definitely changed now, and it's like so many places, and things have popped up. But like, yeah, when we first moved here, I was like, oh man, it's really weird and quiet over here. But then we were walking down Ditmars, I was just kind of like checking it out, and then I saw that they were doing like construction, um, along the facade of where beer and cheese is, and and then there and then I saw there was just like the logo, and I remember being at the Broadway location, and I'm like, oh, I know this place, like this is like the beer and cheese on Broadway, I've been there before. And I was like, oh wow, they're opening up one over here, and I was like, oh, that's really cool, because I'd been to the Broadway one and I enjoyed it, and I thought it was like super cool and cute, and I obviously loved all the beer. And then on the door they had, Rick had posted that he was accepting applications for various positions and stuff, and I needed a job, so I just kind of took a quick picture of his, of the email and stuff on the door, and I kind of sent him an email, and I think like a few days later came in for an interview.
Oh wow!
And it just was really, it was, and I had been going on interviews in different places in Brooklyn and in Manhattan for like other bartending gigs.
Mm.
And so this was just, very convenient that I could just, walk there, especially because I had a little baby at home. So, and then from there, just kind of that's how it started at the
And now
collective.
it's 8 years later.
Oh my gosh!
So
I
yeah,
know.
the partnership got severed. The name has changed, so now it's the Beer and Cheese Collective, and now you're the
Yeah.
beverage manager. Well, I mean, I think you were sharing some of those responsibilities before the professor left, right?
Yes, with the professor, yes. I had a
And now
couple
it's
of
you.
accounts, and then he did the rest of it, and then now I do it all.
So what does
And
that
I do
Aside
look
from
like?
wine.
Yeah.
Go
What
ahead.
exactly does that entail? Like, what is as the beverage director? What can we expect from you?
Well, it entails a lot of dreaming about beers. Because that's what happens sometimes. No, yes.
No doubt.
It's
Floating around your head all the time.
Yes, there's a lot of strange beer dreams, but yeah. So I just have to, basically, I keep the shop, stocked with all the delicious beer offerings,
Mhm.
and then also I have to make sure the the tap list is always ready to go and up to date and all backed up with fun and exciting new things on the tap list.
Okay.
And I also order the wine for the shop
Oh.
too. And then, yeah, and I put together beer and cheese pairings, which we've taken a little hiatus on because of the holidays, but we are going to be getting back into it, starting this month,
Oh, nice.
which is like really exciting. It's just like a
Do
fun
you know
way
what?
to
Do you know what the
feature
date of the first one is going to be, Sarah?
the date. That's a good one because I have just been talking to a couple of breweries to do something.
Oh, that's
And
exciting.
yes, we are. Yeah, so I'm just looking at my calendar now. I have a feeling that maybe it's probably going to be not until the 20th maybe. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
something to look forward to.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I mean, yeah, I think trying to squeeze something in on the 13th might be pushing it, but we'll see. Yeah. But definitely for
Are
the
you still? So you're
20th.
still sticking with Friday nights for that?
Friday nights, yes, for the beer and cheese pairings. Yeah, and depending on what uh the times that the brewery is available, so it's either going to be like 5 to 8 or like 6 to 9. Um yeah, and Glenn,
Cool.
I know you've been to many of those. It's just
Oh, I
fun.
try not to miss. I've missed a few of them, but I try never to.
Yes. I mean, it's, you get to try free beer and you get to eat
Yeah.
free cheese. And then, yeah, and it's sometimes, things and beer and breweries that people have never had before. And sometimes it's just some, old favorites. And we try to feature some like cider houses as well.
And if
So,
you're really fortunate, after you have the tasting, you might sit down at the bar and find yourself next to the owner of the brewery, and he'll buy you a beer. That happened to me last time I was there.
oh, yes, with Strong Rope.
Thanks. Yes, that was a strong rip. That was really
Yes.
wonderful.
Got to
evening.
keep your ears
Oh,
open.
yeah,
Yeah. Make
Make
friends.
sure you know who's around you.
yeah.
Yes.
This is very true. But yeah, so it's just constantly about ordering beer, trying to find new beer and like what's, exciting out there in the beer world. And I mean, it's quite overwhelming because just in New York City itself, I think we have like 40 breweries
Right.
or
It's
something
wild,
like that.
isn't
Is
it?
it
So
up to 40? Yeah,
I think
38
so.
was the last number I'd heard, so it wouldn't surprise me if it's up to 40
Yeah.
now.
So, and it's not just, then we get stuff distributed from, up, and there's tons of breweries in upstate New York,
Mhm.
which is crazy. So it's not just the city, it's upstate New York, and then, from the rest of the US. And, we have like a fun little international section too. And so it's a lot of beer, and it's hard sometimes because our shop is so small and
Yeah.
I want to be able to like order it all and carry everything that comes out, but I have to be very good with editing my finger when I have to like push certain things. I'm like,
Sounds like an
it's
exponential version of the beer drinker's dilemma, because of course we have that dilemma every time we go to a incredibly well-stocked store like the Beer and Cheese Collective. Like,
yeah,
I don't know which one.
Very true.
I know it's
I want
tough.
all of them.
Exactly, but it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and I enjoy meeting all the people from the breweries. And and it's a especially within New York City, it's a nice little beer community.
Oh yeah.
So that's great. Yeah. And and I feel like even within all the breweries, everyone just seems to be very supportive of each other and stuff, and it's cool. So it's been fun taking over so far.
And Sarah, you are, if I'm correct here, aside from Rick, you're the only original member of the team that's still there, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Wow.
was me,
Wow.
me and Rig. We were the last two strongholds,
Yeah.
and then now he has moved upstate,
Wait,
and
I'm
now
behind the
it's just
times.
me.
Rick moved upstate.
No,
Oh,
Rig,
Rig. Okay.
Rig.
Professor
All right.
Pilsner.
I was going to say
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
a little more
yes. No,
fanfare
Rick
for
is
the
still
white
there.
family left Astoria.
with with a Rig and a Rick. That's why it's almost better. We never did. Did we actually ever give Rick a Beer
don't think
Venger
we
name?
did.
I think it's Rick
Because we
White.
tried. I feel like nothing stuck.
Mr.
Yeah, yeah.
I
White.
think
But he's been on.
He may be the only person that we didn't quite ever manage that with, but we're not inclined to let that happen again.
No.
Especially
Yeah.
today, as we have to give our friend Sarah a Beer Venger name.
Now there
We've heard
is
a
one
lot.
thing though
Yeah.
that I think may play into this though, because I do want to
Yes.
mention that when I was first introduced to you, Sarah, I was introduced to you as Mama,
Aha, that's right.
Oh yeah.
and I want to
Yeah.
know where that comes from because I do think Huck that this could be important for our naming.
It may already exist, the name.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is because when I first started at the Beer and Cheese, there was another young lady named Sarah also who was a bartender, and so there were two of us. And then because I was a mom, I don't even know like who pinned this down and who coined this or which staff member was responsible. Um, Possibly Sarah had something to do with it.
I shan't relinquish my name.
But yes. Yeah. but yeah, so then I got the nickname Mama, and it just made it easier because there was two of us, so that kind of stuck. And
Well,
I
there
was
is.
totally fine with it, I'm a mom. So.
Was it Mama, just Mama, or was there a Mama initial or Mama Sarah or anything like that?
It was
I heard
both.
Mama Sarah a lot too. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people said Mama Sarah. Some people would just say Mama. So yeah.
Hmm.
And it's so funny. One of my coworkers from the Diamond came to Beer and Cheese one time
Hmm.
and like heard people calling me that, and he just got like just the funniest kick out of it because at the Diamond everybody just knew me as Sarah and stuff. So he's like, "Why the
What's
hell is
this mama
everybody
business?"
calling you?"
Yes.
Exactly. He thought it was the funniest thing in the world. He was like, "Oh my god, can we start the Diamond?" And I was like, "No." But yes, it made sense. Also, I feel like everyone else, and yeah, I think also everyone else that worked at the Diamond was, and still kind of is younger than me, so
Hmm.
it just kind of made sense why I took on.
You
the-
seem
the
very young to
motherly
me, so.
role.
Yes.
Now, I
thank
did
you.
open that other bottle logic beer just for photo's sake.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is the
What is it? Let us know.
What is
Hanamachi.
this one?
Hanamachi Black. The Japanese
Oh, very good.
Japanese rice lager.
Ooh.
It's
And I
a
gotta say, I like
rice
it.
lager?
It's a rice lager, Japanese
Huh.
style and dark. So it's some dark rice, or I'm not sure how they did it, but it's great. It's great. I love it. So, hooray!
Excellent. All right.
Bottle Logic.
Yay.
We
So
have
the yin and
redemption.
yang of bottle
Finally,
logic.
redemption is
That, it
happened.
is a dark.
The underwhelming
It
to
is
the
a dark beer,
overwhelming.
so they are good with their darks. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is fun. It's got a
good.
nice,
right.
a nice light chocolatey, chocolatey front, and in the back you really actually get the rice flavor, which is nice.
Oh, how cool!
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
it's fun.
But
That sounds
So-
awesome.
but with,
Okay,
with some liquid
oh, yeah,
inspiration,
All
Huck.
right, back to naming.
Yeah, I
yes.
was gonna say with that liquid inspiration, Huck. Do you have some thoughts?
I have a couple. Well, I was thinking, I think it was the Queen of Diamonds was pretty good. But since we have the Mama
all right.
Diamond is not bad.
Oh.
Or I just love Diamond, you shine. That was a lot of the origin story there. But with Mama, we want to
Yeah.
include that. But I was also thinking, being Mama, and you provide us with the beers. I was thinking, the provider.
I really like that one. The provider.
That's pretty great. That's pretty
or
terrific.
Mama provider, or the providing mother,
yeah.
providing Mama. Gentlemen, any other ideas, or
providers.
Sarah?
I mean, there's it's hard to get away from the incredible simplicity of the provider.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I do like that.
Oh.
It's quite funny. It kind of has like a subtly gangster feel to it, which
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can get into.
I've been to see the provider.
Exactly.
Oh dear.
What beers
You
we having
realize
this week?
now-
You better talk to the provider.
See,
It
that's what's
sounds
going to
like
happen.
it could be something that's illegal and little illicit, and I'm down for that.
Wow. There you go.
Wow, that was pretty. That was a quick one, Huck. Well done.
Yeah, I can't do better than that. Unless, did you have anything, Beer Wonder?
No, I'm after the provider. I'm
Yeah.
stunned. I was gonna do something around the fact
right.
that you really had a Belgian phase, just because I always love having more Belgian stuff on here. But no, the
Right.
provider, as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned, takes all.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
All right, well,
Okay.
are you good with that, Sarah?
Oh no, I am. I enjoy it very much.
I love it.
That's a good one.
All right.
So I will
So you
be-
told us about the go ahead.
I was
But
just
the
saying-
upcoming tastings. Any other big things happening at the Beer and Cheese Collective soon?
What else? We're doing some tastings. I think we are trying to do a fun paint,
Ooh,
like a drinking and painting
Art
night.
night. Yeah.
those are
An
always
art
fun.
night. Yes. We've never done
It's
something
sort of expansion on the paint your on the make your. We always had the pumpkin thing once a year.
Yes.
For Halloween.
We do. And I think just as like a fun kind of winter activity, I am friends with someone who is an artist. She teaches high school art here in New York City, and then she hosts these paint nights.
Oh, cool.
So we thought it might be something fun to do at our shop.
Mm.
So yes, there's a possible paint night coming for the winter. I think Rick might have some fun activity thing up his sleeve for people to do, possibly for Valentine's Day coming up.
Nice.
Kind of maybe like a make your own something.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
That's subtle, vague,
Yes.
but still intriguing.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've been talking to different kind of art, kind of artists and vendors, like local vendors that do various or make kind of various little gifty type of things. So we thought maybe we could incorporate that as to like guests can kind of do it themselves and drink while they do it, and so something kind of fun like that. And definitely beer and cheese pairings, we're going to start that back up this month, and then we plan to do them twice a month.
Oh, nice.
So that is going to be something special. Try to get some cool breweries in. I haven't confirmed anything 100%, so unfortunately I can't give you like names just yet, but it's it's in the works.
Well, as soon as you can tell me, we'll talk about it here, and I'll put it on social media.
Yeah, that would be
since
great.
you are our official sponsor.
Yeah, that would be great. And then
and because we like you.
Well, thank you.
That too.
I appreciate it. And then if we obviously have some fun tastings and stuff coming up, then we can even give you guys some of the tasty beers to feature, which is always fun.
All right.
As
Well, now you mentioned
Mhm.
social media. Captain, should people want to, obviously, well, we should ask, where, if we want to find the Beer and Cheese Collective on the socials, where are you guys located?
We are on Instagram and Facebook
Okay, and it's at,
All right.
at Beer and Cheese Collective.
Perfect.
Yes.
and if you
Yes,
can't
it's the
find them,
beer and
which
cheese.
you should, you can always find us where, Captain?
Oh, well, you can find us still on Twitter for time being. I don't know, with Elon Musk, I'm not using it a whole lot, but we're still on there.
Technically.
Also on Facebook, also on Instagram, all at the Beer Vengers.
Yeah.
And of course, if you wanna reach out to us, and it's very strange I feel very old when I have to describe any kind of email as old school. Since email didn't exist when I was in school. But if you want to send us an email, you can do that you can do the beervengers@gmail.com. Let's see. and look at that. We'll also be putting on, especially on Instagram, we're putting all of our sponsored pours on there. And every time the provider provides, you will see exactly because we can't all the she's so generous, all the beers she gives us, we can't fit them all on the show, but we want to make sure you all know what you can get at the Beer and Cheese Collective.
Yes.
Whether you're putting together a cheese plate or a charcuterie kind of thing, so there's a lot of good stuff there.
Absolutely.
It is.
We're lucky to have you as a part
Glenn?
of the New York City beer community. Really, you guys. We were there the other night, and I was looking at the provisions beyond just beer, and I was like, you know what, this is a place one could truly move into and eat at, and that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason we love you guys.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's
I
right.
appreciate it. It's we have a nice little like community, I think, at the collective, and hopefully we will continue that for many, many years to come. But it's I mean, I guess that's why I've been there for so long. I enjoy my time there. So
Excellent.
that's
Well, this has been a wonderful hour. Thank you for joining us, Sarah, heretofore to be known as the provider.
Provider.
And anytime we mention you, we will we will always call you by that name unless we forget and call you Sarah, because that's
what
how
happens
it
around
works
here.
here.
Yeah,
The thing with the Beer Vengers is that when we have secret identities and we're drinking, it's just always been hard to completely maintain those. But thank you so much for joining us, and come back anytime.
Yes, I would love to. Thank you guys for having me. This has been great. I appreciate you guys talking about all the delicious beer, and especially talking about us too. And yeah, it makes us all feel special. Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for everyone for listening. And Huck is now going to play us out.
Oh, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the Beer Vengers.